already been 14 years since Splatterhouse 2010. And Splatterhouse is literally having new games since then. Jeez. Bandai Namco likes to keep on making Tekken so many times. So, everyone's being animated for the little start here, and today, I'm talking about Splatterhouse. Yes, the 1988 game. It was basically Bandai Namco's answer to Castlevania by Konami. But unlike Castlevania, that is a tribute to classic horror monsters like Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman. Instead, Splatterhouse is a tribute to the 80s era of horror, aka the slasher era. With its main protagonist, in particular, being a tribute to Jason Voorhees. The first game came out in 1988 with a crazy success. Then Splatterhouse 2 came out being better than the original. Then Splatterhouse 3 ending up the original trilogy. And then 2010, we got Splatterhouse 2010 because it came out in 2010, being a reboot of Splatterhouse. But some say they liked it, some say they hated it, but there was one problem. It came out during November of 2010. And Namco was hoping that the game comes out during October of that year, or last year, because it was full of horror movies and references to many horror movies, such as Friday the 13th, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Evil Dead, and others. But it didn't. It came out during November. But ever since then, Splatterhouse has never been mentioned or referenced in other Bandai Namco games, such as the Tekken series, or Soul Calibur, or any other games they have in their IPs. That doesn't include anything like anime fighting games such as Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen. And recently, games are getting revived and getting new sequels, such as God of War with the Norse Saga, got Demon Souls getting a remake, aka a remastered, Dark Souls gets a remastered, and new games taking inspiration from Dark Souls and Elden Ring and Bloodborne, or such as 𝕽𝖈𝖍𝕼𝖚 is Cult Bean, Lords of the Fallen, and Moonstars, The Last Fate, and so many others. Without Splatterhouse being one of their most iconic IPs, it's basically been carried Namco from the 1980s to the 1990s. But then Tekken came out, and now Bandai Namco only cares about making new games of Tekken, and sometimes Soul Calibur, because Soul Calibur 5 was a piece of shit. And let's not forget, during the early 2000s, from 2000 to 2010, and companies like Sega, Bandai Namco, and so many others were trying to be dark and edgy of that time. Like seriously, Sega tried to be dark and edgy with their games, like Shadow the Hedgehog and Golden Axe, for examples. And so did Bandai Namco with Splatterhouse 2010, trying to mix elements of the classic beat-em-up style gameplay that we all know and love with the hack and slash genre of God of War and Devil May Cry. But since Devil May Cry and God of War got new games, so can Splatterhouse. I know there are some fans of the 2010 game are still waiting for a sequel to the 2010 game, aka the rebooted continuity. But I think that Bandai Namco doesn't want to do that. And like, they changed Rick's design to make him look like a giant bulking man. Look, I like strong anime characters and strong buff dudes in comics, but I think this is something that most of us tried to do. And also, we all know we love the voice acting, especially from the Mask, Terror Mask himself. Also, it's something that we all want to see happen. A new Splatterhouse game, probably a Splatterhouse 2 for Splatterhouse 2010, to continue the story of Rick Taylor. But I think having another Splatterhouse game will not hurt Bandai Namco, because there were those times they fixed the problems that they did back in 2010 by actually making good stories instead of being dark and edgy. And even Sega, even though they kind of killed off some of their IPs, and still milking the crap out of Sonic the Hedgehog, and they didn't pay attention to their other IPs. But Splatterhouse should come back with a new game. Well, I know there are people are hoping that the 2010 game gets a sequel or remastered. But since we got the original Splatterhouse game for PS5, I think people will discover the franchise, and hoping that the game series can come back for more. But how could a revival of Splatterhouse game happen, you ask? So let's do it. Instead of being a sequel to Splatterhouse 2010, instead it's a new continuity featuring Rick Taylor, and probably taking inspirations from other. Instead of being something like a reimagining and a reboot of the Splatterhouse franchise to make it seem more hip at the times, instead, they can do a lot more. Or, since nowadays we got more horror movies and new slashers, and then some people have streaming service to discover lesser known slashers in horror movies during the time. And probably this is where something that I could see happening in the revival of Splatterhouse is that Rick Taylor takes on some iconic villains like the Big D Man, but new antagonist based off lesser known slashers. Let's not forget, Splatterhouse is a tribute to the 80s era of slashers. Heck, Rick Taylor was based on Jason Voorhees, IPs, and so does the Big Gay Man, who is based off both Leatherface and Part 2 Jason with its. We probably will see new enemies based off other iconic slashers or other monsters from the 80s and 90s. I could see a monster based around Ghostface with its multiple identities, or a monster based on King, or have a new enemy for Rick Taylor, like based off either Michael Myers or Freddy Krueger. Sure. Heck, you could do other movies, like the Urban Legends series. Where Rick has to take on some of the urban legends such as Bloody Mary, or others. But it's just me. Ever since 2010, Bandai Namco did release the original Splatterhouse as a bonus when you get the 2010 game, and then release it to PlayStation 5 if you want to play the original game. And so, let's hope that Splatterhouse finally gets some kind of revival. Like Rick Taylor can finally have the spotlight again. So, what do you think? Should Rick Taylor come back for a new Splatterhouse game, or you're just gonna wait until Bandai Namco announced Splatterhouse 2? Also, leave a like on the video, subscribe for more, and leave down your ideas of a new Splatterhouse monsters / bosses. This is Anime and Toko All-Star, signing off with